Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Standards Wednesday, August 14th, 2024. Welcome, everybody. We're going to go through pretty much all of the same things that we checked on yesterday. It was a bit confusing where we were and what price was going to do. And by the time I made the video, it seemed pretty apparent that price action wanted to go to the 544. And that was the next biggest level. And so, I didn't think we were going to get a reversal yesterday. And we managed to scare some people, didn't hit the target at the opening from CPI. A lot of volatility happens from those type of catalysts, very similar to FOMC. So you can never really trust what price is doing. But we ended up going up and tagging 544. Now, I think that's it. I think that's it for the move. We added on some puts on QQQ, SPY, SMH, all shorter term, okay, going into next week, while leaving on all of our swings to the downside. So there's still potential. None of the game plan has changed. So we're going to go through that. If you're new, I want you to see exactly what we went through. You can look through yesterday's video, but I'm pretty much going to go through the same thing again today, just to solidify some of the numbers now that we have the targets and possible top in. So we're doing this video intraday. It's about 12:30 noon Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to get these videos intraday, consider being a supporter for 99 cents. And I do individual videos and trade alerts for members as well. So let's dive into it. We have SPY on the monthly time frame. We have the 2000 top, 2021 top. We're forming our own top right here. The 8 EMA, we're above that. That's about the only real bullish thing we have going on for us in the higher time frame. We have negative divergence, so we're looking for some sort of top to form here. It takes time. A lot of tops, this one took 3 months to happen. We got a high, it looked like a reversal candle, got a new high, and once again, another high and reversed from there. Do I think the same thing is going to happen here? That's the big question, and that's what we're trying to, as we get more information. That's why I do these videos so often, and we trade on lower time frames, so we just have to look at the big picture to see, what the overall trend for us is. So we're getting the reactions to the upside because of the monthly time frame, but we're starting to break down on the lower time frame. So that's what we'll look at. Let's go down to the weekly. Weekly time frame, we have some sort of channel, potential channel. There's only one touch on the bottom, so this isn't a valid trend line, but for the top, it certainly is. We reversed, have an overthrow there, reversed, and now we're back testing into the 8 EMA, which is our trend. It's our momentum indicator. So having a little trouble with that on the weekly time frame. We'll see how this candle ends. My suspicion is this will be somewhat of a doji candle or even a dark cloud candle, depending on how fierce the reversal is going to be. Now, what you're going to hear over and over is we're going to test the lows. That can mean two things: that we make a higher low, we're testing low, or we make a lower low that's still testing the lows. So it doesn't matter. It's just kind of a general thing that traders say. So we're going to test the lows, but are we going to make a lower low and come down here to the 50-week moving average? It's very possible. We've had such a big move, and I'll show you on the lower time frames how that might look. It's very possible, but we could also certainly make a higher low. So it's a very hard thing to do. When we come into the major areas, that's when you have to start putting on these, protect your account. And I think the major area is going to be 520. So where do I get 520 from? 520, and it's a zone. There's a 515 as well, and that's where we held last time. I noticed we got underneath that zone, but that's typical. We trade around it. If and when we go down to test, we have to 23.6. I think this is the important zones to look at. right now because we're curious if this is going to be a wave 4 that already started into a wave 5 at the 23.6, or are we coming down to the 382, which is very normal trade to get down to the 382 and then start a wave 5. That's the risk to the upside. The risk to the downside is if we make it down here to 382, well, we're just going to get a lower high and continue to the downside. But I think these are super important areas that price needs to discover, and that's based off of this market structure here. You have a possible wave 1 here and the low of wave 2, and that's where the structure is trying to form here. So we do have something going on the weekly time frame around September 1st. I don't have anything before that. So we'll continue to look for clues. Let's go down to the daily to do that. Now, on the daily time frame, we're right up at the downtrend line. We're not quite at it. We don't have to tag it. We're reversing or getting a possible reversal doji off the 50-day moving average. That's what we talked about yesterday because we weren't quite yesterday at resistance. We were just a hair under it. So it seemed to me like unfinished business that it had to test this area. We have some great lows here, a lot of trade. There's a volume node here as well. And that's where price went right into, was that volume node, the 50-day moving average. And I think nothing goes in a straight line. So no matter if you're a bull or a bear, I know that we're looking at this being the actual reversal. Now that we have this as a reversal here, possible, we need follow through for the confirmation. Nothing goes in a straight line. This has been a straight line so far, and we're looking for some sort of market structure to hold here around the 520 and then a move up, or the 520 to break down and then we turn bearish. So I have puts on because I think this is gonna at minimum come down here to the lower zones. Now you get to those zones, this really needs to hold because we're going to be underneath all the moving averages. Okay, so this creates a huge dilemma. This zone here, and with the moving averages coming down, you know, we can easily bounce off it a little bit and then head lower. But if we do break down from this 520, then I'm looking for first the lows. In the lower time frame, when we're trading, it's going to matter because we're going to get a reaction off the low. It's just natural, and we might even close at it and then gap down. That's how price action seems to happen. But we'll be looking for, you know, some. I'll have puts here, and then we'll look for some call protection at each of these levels. Okay, so the swings will be out later dated on the downside, and the calls will be near dated for their expirations. Okay, that's how I trade. I'll be in the down mind frame, and we can call this a megaphone if you want to. And price action will look for at the lowest point here, about 491, which would set up a large head and shoulder pattern where the neckline will be in this zone. About 495 is what we've been calling it. Left shoulder head, right shoulder, and possible lower. Now, that's not a definite thing. If we start breaking out from trend lines, then I think we have a possible test of either, I'll call it test of the highs. So we either make it back to the 2000 top here, or even eke out a new high and head lower. So, but I think that if we come down here, which is where the 382 is, if we come down here, I think this is going to make the probability of making a brand new all-time high just a little bit lower here. So we'll be looking for a lower high coming into there, but we can't take the risk out that it does. Okay. Let's go over to our Fibonacci, Elliott, and this is a real important board here on where I'm going to describe sort of this pattern of what we should see, what this should look like. And so this is a potential wave 3 up here. We're going to keep that no matter what, even though this may be the top, okay? Because we don't know if we're going to make if we make a higher low here at the 520, then we'll be looking for a new high here. Okay, this will be a 3-wave move pattern where wave 4 is here. Okay, if price starts to break down from that 520, I think that wave 4 is going to be at the 382. And again, that's just keeping in mind what the structure could be and get a new all-time high. But I think it's the less probability, because I think this structure here can be looked at in 2 different ways. So I'll show you again on the Qs, but right now this is an ABC and this could be the low. But what I'm looking for is this possibly being an A, this being a B, and we get a C into a 382. We get down here, and then I'm also going to show you that this is a possible leading diagonal where each expanding move here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we'll talk about that if we even break down. We can't project that scenario that that's going to happen yet. So right now, we also have the possibility of a 1. And it looks like a 3-wave corrective move. That's the hard part about this, because I think if we eke out a new high, it's going to be an ending diagonal. 3-wave move up for 1, 3-wave move down to 2. We hold the 520, and then we're looking for a 3-wave move up for 3, and etc. up to 5. Okay, so that's our dilemma right here. We're just in this. We're in this zone here. What will we do? That's just the $1 million question. Now you'll notice that the price action here, we retrace 62% of this entire move. It wants me to think that this is an independent move right here for an A, and this is a B, and this is a C. That's what the 62% retracement from the high to low is kind of telling me, is sort of hinting to me. Doesn't mean the other counts don't matter, but that would be where I get the idea that this is an A, B, C. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then we have some business, some time relationships happening at 8:16, 8:19. So that will be going into the weekend. So let's see where we are, what kind of move with the CPI. The real move could actually start. It could be into the day. We could chop around, get this doji, and then reverse into the rest of the week and into Monday, and find some sort of low into Monday. Okay, where we get some sort of turnaround Tuesday, and we go from there. Tesla is breaking down. We're short Tesla, short Nvidia after getting our face ripped off. But those have the same kind of structures that we're looking at as well. So what else can we look at here? Let's go down to 65. On the 65, looking at traditional technical analysis, we have a potential channel here, and I think that makes more sense than the wedge that I was previously looking for, because of the type of price action that happened. Such a wide move here. So this could be expanding in leading diagonal. But what to look at is really we're in this falling channel here. So now in the near term, I'm not going to dig in yet because we need to see where we're looking for. Okay, so the near term, we got our move, initial move. We're having this massive rip your face off rally. And potentially we're reversing right now. We're looking for a break of this inner wedge here of this channel, and we'll be looking for the breakdown of the channel. So after getting to this 520 level, we'll be trading pretty aggressively. We have no call protection on right now. We're looking to trade this pretty aggressive into this zone, and this is when we'll start to take profit and add call protection. Okay, And we'll do the same thing if 520 starts to break down. We'll start to do the same thing around the lows as well. This could end up being a double bottom, but I think if we break down for 520, I think we're good to go for possible test of the bottom of the channel here. And I think at that point, we'd probably see kind of the price action that happened right here, you know, because if this is an ABC, this is going to be an impulse wave down. It's going to be pretty scary. We're going to have lots of gaps. It's probably going to be similar but bigger to this one, okay? If we hold here, then we should probably see an aggressive move up into the channel, and then maybe see a reaction, or honestly, this might just be a rip your face off rally as well. So if we hold this area, because this would be a 1-2, a wave 3 can still, even if you're in an ending diagonal, wave 3 can still be the longest and the most aggressive. So that could be the same thing. We could see either way. So that's why this is such a key point here. All right, let's go to our other page. And we have the 382 that is pointing at around the 490. We're calling it 495. I know it's a little bit lower than there. We can spike through to 491. Yes. All right, so that's the downside. And on here, we're looking at this, again, an ABC for a larger wave A into a B into a larger C. That could be the pattern, and that would be corrective, and that means we get new all-time highs, okay, if you count it like that. But we'll keep our mind and our more of our positioning that this is going to be an expanding leading diagonal where this is a 1, 2, 3, and a really deep 4 into this. You see this zone here, 61. We have this 786. And then a wave 5 all the way down, all right, which would be an impulse wave. It would look like a 3-wave move, but you wouldn't be able to tell how it is anyway, unless it ended being, if it started being some sort of ending diagonal down here, where I just don't see that's likely, but you'll see some weird crossing waves headed to the downside. All right, and this is our 520 make or break bull bear zone. So this is a potential 1, 2, and it head higher. So I think this, I think we get down here pretty quick. This might not be steep enough where these arrows are pointing. We might get this by Monday, if not sooner. Okay. So now we can go around the horn and just kind of look at some of these pictures that we were looking at before. Now, trend lines move, you know, all the time. We have our wedge here, our bearish rising wedge, and we have a potential downtrend line here. All that's going to happen is, first of all, if we break down underneath this trend line, that's a fake break, okay? And then that's very, very bearish. And so we likely see new lows just because of that by itself. All right? And then all we're going to end up doing, because of if we get a new low, is setting the trend line to that point anyway. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to leave this to see if we get our fake break, but I'll end up just taking it off and moving our trend line to this top here if we see new lows. Okay, so that's how I play these trend lines. They move. You have to adjust them. Some people leave them there and just kind of let price trade around them. So anyway, now first of all, target possibly is down lower here to the 400 area. We'll see if this diverges. Sometimes what happens during lows is the Qs diverge from SPY. So let's say SPY kind of ekes out a new low, but the Qs seem relatively strong and are holding. That could be giving us another picture. So we'll be looking at these lows here, especially the 434. We'll call it 435 area for the same thing. All right. And so we'll put a new downtrend. If it holds here, put a new downtrend. We'll see if we break out from that downtrend. Lots to look at all the time. But this potentially could get down to the 400 area on here. Now, looking at the picture here, this 410 area, I know I said 400. We could reach down to 400, but this 410 area would bring us into the 382. So that's a good zone to look for. We have the bow and arrow support resistance here at 405. So that's a volume node there as well. So everything's happened the way that we're kind of projecting, but just exaggerated. And so, I didn't think that price would make it up to here. So what we're looking at right now for the Qs is we're rejecting off of the 50% retracement of this entire move. Okay. We're also rejecting off of the 786 from here. There's lots of ways you can look at this. Again, Elliott waves are speculation. It's just to give you structure on what possibilities are happening. So is this if we make it down to this 382, we make a new low, is this possibly, there's a lot of ways we can look at this. Is this 5-wave move over here and we're getting an A into an A, and then we get a B and this is a C and we make new highs? Hey, that's a possibility. I think we've topped out in the Qs. So if we eke out a new low here, is this still a wave 1? And then we're looking for, do we get an expanding diagonal do we get an expanding flat? Okay, is this an A for the beginning of our correction? We get a B that takes out the low of wave 1, and then we get a C that just rips to the upside while SPY makes a new high. There's so many things we have to accomplish. If we make a new low, then we'll look at all of these things. So right now, just let's see if we actually make any new low at all, and then we'll go from there. If we make a higher low, maybe SPY makes a higher low and the Qs come down and eke out a new low and have a double bottom, then those both scenarios can play out. SPY can have a new high, and then the Qs can have a lower high. Okay, so that's hit the notification bell. We'll do these videos constantly to give you those scenarios so we can trade them. That's the most important part, is to trade with whichever way that price action is going to go anyway. And I think we're going to break down from this low here. So potentially an inverse head and shoulder if we hold this point down here. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder. That's potential. Breaks down from there. We go lower. IWM. IWM is just kind of doing the same thing. As of right now, it potentially looks like this same thing is going to happen. You think it's going to go higher, you get a fake break, and then that's very bearish. So if this breaks down, which it looks like it wants to, we had an ascending triangle, fake breakout, boom, very bearish, and this starts to make new lows. And that could be just the leading indicator of what's really happening. This could be a wave 4 in here, and we make a wave 5, and then we'll be looking for bigger correction to the upside. DIA is right into former resistance, former support, now resistance again. And this could be making its own structure. It could be 1 2 1 2, could be a 1 2 3 4 5, like I said, a leading diagonal. So we'll be looking for a reversal on this one as well pretty soon here. The SMH led by NVIDIA. I already changed this downtrend line, so this is very similar to what could happen, but and at the projection here. So again, we can make a double bottom or a higher low, but we have this nice trend line at the bottom down low here. I need to probably adjust it just a little bit. And so we could probably hit that trend line down here, and that would just be testing the lows. It'd be just a little bit more less of a move to the downside for SMH, which could be a leading indicator saying, hey, we're ready to start our real correction up here. So look for these lows to retest. It's going to look like a head and shoulder, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, but I think this has much more of a bounce than the rest here. And we have NVIDIA, its earnings later in the month too, so this could be skewed on whatever happens with the market. SMH could really start to put in some work for the market. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. Rejection right here. Do we have some Elliott waves didn't quite touch? Is that unfinished business? Have a, that could easily come back up here, test that, and head lower. So SMH, again, it doesn't have to do those things, but it's at those levels right now. And finally, the VIX. The VIX has been crushed, and that was the most devastating thing. Is we've had our puts, and our puts also lose value as the VIX goes down. The VIX shows premium in options, and so when and if we start to get our breakout here on the VIX from this bullish falling wedge right at the 200 moving average here, we get back over 19, and I think that solidifies that move, and we start higher. Do we make a new high? I don't think so. I think we'll diverge from the market, make a new low, possibly, or lower high. So we'll have to look at the same thing. Do we close the gap? That might be more of an option for the VIX to happen. So your premium and your options should go up as well. They've been kind of decimated, the ones that are out of the money that I have for the downside. So with that said, I don't usually play out of the money plays, but I was looking for a nice big reversal, and so I decided to. And so your premium, it doesn't have any value, any intrinsic value. I keep posting the Greeks on my videos so you can learn some of that stuff. And if you're trading with options, you should know that if you're playing with something that's out of the money, it doesn't have any real value. The value is time, really. And so with the VIX, it's also part of the Vega. So if the VIX is breaking down, Vega's the volatility of the volatility premium is also going down. So you're losing value in your options. So if you play in the money, then you're a lot more safe with a lot of those trades. So that's what we got here, you guys. Looking for a reversal into the rest of the week, and it should be a pretty harsh move, even if it makes a lower high, a higher low or lower low. No matter what scenario, we're going to get a nice trade out of this. So take some profit going into that 520 zone on the SPY. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.